Range's Coaches Show. We're live at Your Pie Pizza. I'm your host, Greg Hicks, along with head coach Tanner Glisson. We'll be talking about Troup football for the next 30 minutes, and we might even talk about Kia Optima a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I got a key fob here. Coach, we're going to take this thing for a drive. I don't even know what it is. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go. I'm trying to get this chair fixed. Pete was sitting real low. He's a lot bigger fella than I am.
Andrew was kind of there. You go. Now I feel like I can sit up to the table now. Thursday night, I can say that at least until in the last 2 years, you've elected to play a playoff game on Thursday night. But right now, I'm kind of tired of Thursday night ball games.
Yeah, I think we can do away with Thursday nights for a little while, and let's get back in the Friday routine. And we looked at it the other day, and it shortchanges you some practice time. And then after you do that a couple of times, you look up and you have 2 or 3 less practices, than you would have.
That's a good point.
So glad to get back in the normal routine of things. A little hoarse today, did a little hollering in the weight room, a little hollering on the field, but all in all, we're pretty good.
Good. Well, there's an old saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And with that thought in mind, we're going to take a short break. We're live here from Your Pie Pizza with Kia LaGrange Coaches Show. We'll be right back on Eagle Sports.
Patient physicals, sideline coverage.
Kia of LaGrange Coaches, live at Your Pie.
Welcome back to Troup High Coaches Show. I'm your host, Greg Hicks, along with head coach Tanner Glisson, and we're live at Your Pie Pizza here in LaGrange, downtown on Bull Street. And it's headlined by Kia of LaGrange. And speaking of Kia of LaGrange, we've got Todd Parrish. He is the man with the plan out there. Todd, how you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing wonderful. Getting ready. Just got in from a good day at the Kia store and had a good day, but getting ready to watch a little Monday Night Football. And so, good talking to you guys, talking about football and what you guys do. I like what Troup Tigers are doing. And, hey, let me tell you something, though. You talking about something beautiful, not just the Tigers, but how about that Optima out there? That's a beautiful ride as well.
Well, I've got the key fob in my hand, and I just don't know if it's going to make it back over there tonight.
Well, hey, there's one thing about I don't mind you driving that bad boy, and I tell anybody wants to come out and drive one, come on out and drive one. I'll give you a set of keys. You want to keep it overnight, make sure it fits good in your garage, well, that'll be fine.
You know what? That's something that not a lot of car dealerships will allow you to do. So with that in mind, that's got to be a win-win for the purchaser and for you guys, because a lot of you want to test some things out. You don't want to abuse it, but you certainly want to be able to test it out.
That's right, especially today, man. With all the technology these cars have, you can't just come and spend 30 minutes there and understand really what it's all about. But another thing we're also doing, we're reaching out to people that's 200 miles away. If you're 100 miles away, 200 miles away, guess what? You can still buy a car from Key LaGrange, and we will deliver it to you front doorstep for no charge.
It's funny that you say that. My older son and I were up at Rome, Georgia this Friday night, and I saw at least one car that said support your local economy, and it didn't have a Troup tag on it, a Troup County tag on it. So that's good. I know you guys are, and that's a 2-hour drive.
Well, that's right. And that's the thing about it. I think a lot of people nowadays, and keep in mind, all of our guys are not paid commission. They paid on the salary. So that's why we try to give the best deal up front as we can to our customers. And it makes life a lot easier. The guys are not stressed out because they know they're going to get a paycheck anyway. And so I come up with that idea probably 9 years ago. That's probably one of the best ideas I ever had, is to pay these salespeople on a salary, and it works out great.
Well, I have been out there several times, and it is a non-pressured situation, and it makes you feel real comfortable that you can browse around, and you're speaking with salesmen and sales ladies that are very knowledgeable about your product. So it's not like they're just out trying to sell you any old vehicle. You got questions, they got answers, and this Optima has always been a beautiful car, and just like the one sitting out here on the sidewalk now, what a gorgeous car. And I can't tell you the number of people that stopped by and looked inside, and of course that's why we do this thing. That's why we do it.
That's right, and I tell you, man, I'm excited. You think about a franchise that puts their name on the line and everything on the line. They got a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. I mean, that speaks just mountains what it does, and it tells you, hey, I'm gonna guarantee this car for 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and most of them are 3-year, 36, and that's tremendous.
Well, Todd, the way I drive a vehicle, I think my family would want me to have something like that, and I don't know why. I don't know why they think I need it, but I guess I probably would. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd.
I'll say one other thing real quick, like, too. You mentioned trucks, too. I want everybody to understand, not just the Kia products, guys. We also got the all-new King of the Hill Truck Center out there now. I'm a big avid hunter, and I like going in the woods, and I'll have something like that. So if if something the Kia don't fit for you, guess what? We got all the pre-owned and all the trucks we can get you as well.
You know, that whole side lot up there that you guys have recently graded off and crush and run up there, that looks sharp. You've got some very nice trucks up there. I bet you've got at least 20, 25 trucks up there now.
I do, and the great thing about it is I call it a honey hole. I've got a guy I've been dealing with for about 25 years, and whatever I need, he can usually get it to me within about 48 hours.
Sweet. Well, I'll tell you what. You guys, you want something, the Kia, if you want a big truck, go see the boys at Kia of LaGrange on the Parkway. We appreciate everything they do for all the local high schools and LaGrange College as well. Being a huge mainline sponsor for the Coaches Show here for several years now, we appreciate their involvement, Todd.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys, and like I tell everybody, hey, go see these young men play ball, and go see these great coaches boys as well, and it's what we need to do. We need to support our kids and support our education.
Well, there'll be a good game this Friday night at Callaway Stadium, the Troup Tigers and the Callaway Cavaliers. With that, thanks to Todd Parrish at Kia of LaGrange. I'm your host, Greg Hicks, along with head coach Tanner Glisson. We'll be right back on Eagle Sports.
Precision Auto Body started after Eddie Bartlett painted his first bike when he was a kid. And after a lot of schooling
Talk a little bit of Kia Optimas there with Todd Parrish, and let's get back to talking some Troup High football. And before the break, I'd mentioned if Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. But this is just a little joke. But probably all seriousness, Coach.
What much joking around?
No, not how you was raised, boy. I tell you.
No.
So I think he said, I don't think we need to let the other team score first anymore. So you just got to make Mama happy. But anyway, it just seemed to be something that's happened the first 3 ball games. And
Yeah. You know, and we're trying to put our finger on it. There's a couple of issues that we have right now. Number one, our scout team is not quite as good as last year's scout team. Okay. And you wouldn't think about that. You know, the average fan doesn't think about that, you know. Mm-hmm. But that is a situation we're dealing with at practice, trying to get those scout team guys to run the plays, you know, a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So that is one. Number two, especially on defense, you know, there's 7 new starters out there. And so we prep for something, but then when you see something that you didn't prep for, the transition has not been easy.
I guess.
And so us saying, hey, wait a minute, I know we worked on this, but we're about to change your reach. We're about to change your keys. If you look at it, I think that's one reason why we've played better coming out of halftime, because we've had time to sit them down, show them the film, say this is what they're doing, this is what we're going to have to do instead of what we were previously doing. And you know, and that's, you know, when you got a freshman middle linebacker and you got 3 new starters in the secondary and you've got, you know, that happens, you know. And do I think we're going to be a good team? Yes, I do. Absolutely. Are we a good team right now? No, I don't think. You know, we're not a bad football team, but we're nowhere close to where we need to be right now.
Yeah, you it's right. And you could tell the ebb and flow of the first half Friday night. We made Jack and I were talking about how over the last 33 years the Tigers had won 20. I think it was 27-5-1. Well, now you can chalk that up to 28 wins. And when you dominate a team like that, you know the kids are thinking about that. And I think probably Harris County snuck up on them as far as when I say snuck up, I mean it in my way. And that's pretty good ball. It wasn't the same ball team y'all played last year.
No. They are a much improved football team. To say they snuck up on us, I wouldn't really say that. I think it was more the fact that, you know, we game plan for one thing. You know, and shame on us as coaches. We need to maybe expand that a little bit. But we game plan for 14 and 4 in different places, and then we come out, and a couple times they're both in the backfield. And you're like, we're all freaking out. Yeah. Like, you know, not us, but the kids. Yeah. You know, we're like – and so there's just those things behind the scenes that people don't see that is a work in progress right now. Okay. And but do I think we're going to get there? Yeah, I think it's going to end up being a really good football team.
Well, we went in at halftime after a back and forth game. Went in at halftime all knotted up, and it was a challenging first half. And I made a comment. I said, I hope that alarm clock goes off during halftime to kind of wake up everybody. And then you guys came back, and very first you held them 3 and out, which is what we talked about on the radio, what you guys needed to do. And then all of a sudden we went 96 yards, no passes, just simply ran it, and
the 2 main things that we talked about at halftime, and you can't also with an inexperienced team, you can't talk about 10,000 things. You got to keep the main thing the main thing. Okay. And so we came in and said, number one, we lost the penalty battle in the first half. We created a lot of penalties. Mm-hmm. So second half we had to win the penalty battle to win the game. And the second thing is we had to run the football consistently and get some momentum. So we come out, we win the penalty battle, and we take that one drive and just run it down the field and end up scoring. And then the one that kind of gave us the leg up or sealed the deal was a 15-play, 94-yard drive, where we threw one pass.
That's right.
And so we're going to have to do some of those things. The bad part about that is it turns into being a one-score football game. You don't run away from anybody. Yeah. So the margin of error is very, very slim.
Well, it works in reverses. Like you said, a lot of teams, let's say against the Tigers, would want to do a ball control because they want to keep it close.
Absolutely.
And then when you need to establish that dominance, if you will, on the ground game, then that's the negative effect, I guess.
We came out and we played so undisciplined in the first half. for us to be able to zone back in and go on a 15-play, 94-yard drive where you only throw one pass is really good discipline.
I got you.
You know, and so, you know, those are the things we talked about a lot of times when kids know each other. And we talked about it today.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a huge atmosphere Friday, and we can't just go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the game's not going to be won, hopefully not lost early.
Yeah.
You know, you got to slow down, and you got to process things, and you got to be in your run fits. You got to do the right stuff. And all that hooping and hollering and jumping around and all that and getting penalties is what kind of kills you. You know, and I think you saw that with some of our guys. We had some guys get cramps that shouldn't have got cramps. And a lot of it, I think, is mental stress.
You can have almost too much emotions going in before the game, and by the time you get that first lick in and maybe take you a few plays, sometimes it may take you a half to get settled down, and then it shows up.
And sometimes. I think the team that settles down the quickest is at the biggest advantage.
That's a good point.
Everybody wants to talk about, you got to get the guys ready to play. Well, crap, if you don't get ready to play for Harris County, you don't get ready to play for Callaway, nothing I'm going to say is going to get you ready to play. It comes back down to execution. How do you execute what you've been doing in practice? Because you didn't go crazy in practice.
No.
You know, you practiced with good energy, but you executed. So that's got to filter over to the game.
Yeah, there's going to be some emotion involved, but like you said, it's who can control those emotions quicker, get that adrenaline settle down, and keep it in a positive way. You know, bottom line is just execute. Don't hold. Block you like you're supposed to. Tackle like you're supposed to. Speaking of tackling, one of the things that I've liked in the second half, the defense was really pressuring their quarterback on several plays, several key plays they put with good pressure.
One thing I'm very proud of is that in the first game against Ridgeland, we missed 24 tackles. And I'm talking about defense and special teams.
Okay.
And in the game against Columbus, we missed 22 tackles. In this game against Harris County, who had better skill guys than both of those teams, we missed 8 tackles.
Oh, wow.
So it's slowly coming down. You know, more game reps, certain things like that. But, you know, you can't play well if you don't tackle. And so that's been a big plus.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of tackling, we're going to tackle some commercials right now. We're live at Your Pie Pizza down here on Bull Street in LaGrange. You guys come on down, have some pizza, and join us as we talk Troup football on Eagles Sports. Welcome back to Your Pie Pizza here. I'm your host, Greg Hicks, along with head coach Tanner Glisson. We're talking Troup football, sponsored by Kia of LaGrange. Tell you what, Coach, the stadium should be loud Friday night. Troup Tigers and the Callaway Cavaliers this Friday night. It's going to be, just another tough game. in the series that started way back, and you and Coach Wiggins are good friends. Every Monday night, we're always having good conversation. But it's game week this time, and you put you a little bit of a different game face on, and we can expect to have a tough ball game, especially with the talent like they've got on their offensive line and the big kid Tate Johnson, and then of course, needless to say, you got a 4 or 5 star depending on who's grading him out, and
he's a 5-star in my book. I can tell you that.
And that is Tank Bigsby, the tailback. So I've seen him play one time this year when I went down to watch Callaway and Opelika on a Thursday night, and very impressive. I was telling Coach Wiggins earlier that people call him Tank, and I said I kind of nicknamed him Sweetness because he reminds me a lot of the way Walter Payton runs.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cut, boom, slap on brakes, move sideways, and twist. And so he's the kind of kid that he's going to create his own plays, and you just got to do the best you can to do the best you can.
Yeah, and those guys do such a great job, and so we were lucky enough to win that game last year, but that game could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think Pete and his guys probably know a little bit more about their team right now than we do, because of the Opelika game and some stuff. That was a really quality opponent for them. We're still trying to kind of figure out who we are and trying to get in the groove a little bit. And and they're just they're really good on both sides of the ball. And I can't say enough good things about them. It's going to be a really good football game. I'm sure that he feels the same way I do as far as it does not define our season.
No.
We were lucky enough to win this game last year, and both of us still went to the semifinals.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to – you want to win. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's just as much competitor as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all going to come at it, hard on Friday night. But at the end of the day, you still got bigger fish to fry down the road with your region, and our region starts next week.
Absolutely.
But they're very, very talented. That group of coaches has been over there together for going on probably 10 years. And so they just the expectation has been set, and they know what to do, and they just do it really, really well. And I really believe this is their year to win AA. I really do.
Well,
I believe, I think Rockmart's probably pretty good, but I really believe that Callaway is probably the front runner.
I was looking down, we all get that Georgia High School Football Daily email, and I was looking today at, obviously at 4A, and particularly Region 5 4A, and was also looking at Callaway's region and looking at the AA contest that had taken place this past weekend. And you're right, other than Hateville Charter and they've got, I'm trying to think, the front runner at Rockmart, I believe they've got listed as number 1. Callaway's going to be in the mix the entire year for
but
sure.
You know what? They're deserving of one. They've been right there knocking on that door for many, many years, and that's hard. It's hard to knock that door in.
Mm-hmm.
And but those guys are deserving of one. I hope they don't win this week, but then after that, really
run the table.
We wish them the best,
Yeah.
and that would be great for them, and they work extremely hard, and we have a lot of respect for those guys. When I first came here to Troup, the biggest thing that we did is we took an internal look at us. Said, look at Troup, let's see what they've been doing over the last few years. And then we started saying, all right, look who's around us and see what's doing good for them. And, we took a lot of great ideas from Pete and his folks. And that was a quality program, that was doing it right,
Mm-hmm.
But those guys, a lot of respect for them and this and that. We go to head-to-head in 9th grade JV. But it should be one good football game Friday.
Well, it should be. There's would say that, we talk about Callaway, and we appreciate that, and we've got some guys I think it's gonna have to step up as well.
Yeah.
You've got really a one senior on the offensive line, starter, and that's Michael Irvin, and even Michael got hurt late in the year in the playoffs last year, and I think maybe the first game or so when he hurt his ankle.
He got hurt against Carterville, so week 10.
So
he was out. So he was the returning starter.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it goes back to game experience.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those guys that we're going to play this Friday have not been in atmosphere like you're going to see. I mean, they were there. They've been in atmospheres,
right,
but just not in the fire.
In the game.
That's right.
That's right.
And we still have some top heavy guys like the Kobe Hudsons and the Jabraylon Goodens and the Jace Godwins and Andy Boykins. Those guys have been around, but they're going to have to really help these younger guys in this kind of atmosphere Friday.
As much as you like to think, you got that freshman A.J. Tucker starting at your linebacker position, and we've talked many times. You just don't see a lot of freshmen starting But when you put a freshman at a linebacker, that's saying a lot, how much confidence you have in him.
That's a heck of a note when you're a freshman. You got to go try to tackle Tank Bigsby Friday night.
That's interesting that you say that. That's going to be a pretty good contest there.
That'll make me lose some sleep this week, I guarantee you.
I'll tell you what, good. You couldn't ask for better non-region opponents.
Oh, yeah.
You've scheduled.
Well, the thing is with this game here Friday, too, you know, I think Pete and his group probably know where they are and know what they have. Mm-hmm. After Friday, we'll know what we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so good or bad, we'll kind of know what we are leading us into our region. So it's coming at a good time.
Yeah.
You know, do I wish we were playing better right now? Absolutely. Do I think we've played our best? Nowhere close to that.
I got you.
And but after Friday night, we'll really have a good sense of where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And you usually do that, you know, iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
You know, when you go against a really good football team, you'll figure out in a hurry kind of how good you are or how
what
much
you
you
need to improve on. That's right. Well, everybody's excited about that. You know, and then the following week, we moved right into what you and I talked at break, how Chapel Hill in our region wound up beating 5A Stars Mill. Stars Mill historically has had a really good disciplined team. Coach Chad Phillips up there runs a wing tee, and he runs it to perfection. And Chapel Hill was behind Stars Mill for a good part of that game, came back to win the football game.
The next 3 weeks with Callaway, Chapel Hill, and Sandy Creek, I think they're all combined 9-1, or maybe 9-2.
Right.
And so, I mean, heck, you know, Chapel Hill beat Stars Mill. They also beat 7A Noonan.
Yeah.
You know, I see some polls that have Sandy Creek ranked number 1 in Quad A. And so the next 3 weeks are not going to be for the weak of heart. I promise you that.
No, if you're sitting in the stands, you got any little bit of nerves about you, you're right. You better you might want to settle down before you get on that airplane, because it's going to be a ride in the next 3 weeks. You're for right on that. Hey, we're going to take a short break here. We're live here at Your Pie Pizza, sponsored by Kia of LaGrange. We'll be back and wrap things up on Eagle Sports.
Hi, friends. It's TOWD at Kia LaGrange. The 2020 Kia Sportage LX is here with all new updated interior and exterior style and comfort on the inside that rivals vehicles twice the price. State-of-the-art technology, lots of power under the hood, and room in the back for luggage, coolers, and the dogs. All this for only $20,990. Come by today and take a look. Take a test drive. Take one home. Check us out online at Kia LaGrange.
Tanner Glisson. And before you go anywhere, Friday night, big game, Troup Tigers, Callaway Cavaliers. This Friday, however, we're going to be visitors at Callaway Stadium. I know you fans, maybe you've looked at the schedule and just in passing, but just remember, when you show up to Callaway Stadium Friday night, go over to the visitor side. That's where your Tigers are going to be.
Away from the sun.
No, that's that's the positive about being on the traditional visitor side, and that we've talked before that at one time they had was going to raise the money to remodel a stadium, and that was going to be the home side. Only because of that issue is that you don't have to deal with the early season sun. But here in another month, it's really not going to be a factor at any rate. And the sun goes down real fast now anyway. But as far as Friday night, your Troup Tigers visitor team this year. So just remember that as you come in the gate. And for sure, it won't take you but a second to realize if you're going on the home side, wrong colors, they'll all be in there red and black. And so come on over to the blue and gold. Again, stands to be a pretty good ball game Friday night, Coach. You know, you've got some things you want to work on with your kids. But, you know, you got to know that Trey Williams had a good game last week. He had over 120 yards rushing. The offensive line, the second half particularly, executed a lot better than in the first half. Defense really stepped in there and locked down on the receivers. And, Jabraylon Gooden had a last gasp interception to kind of seal the deal. And really the play before then, your defensive line was putting so much pressure, he was scrambling, and it just kind of put him way back, put him in like a 4th and 20 situation. So, the second half was definitely a tale of two halves, and it looked better coming out of that second half, and came away with a 27-21 win. And, anytime you miss that extra point like that, and it looked to me that the timing might have been off a little bit, and the snap might have been a little bit off. But
they just got some push inside.
Is that what it is? Some
push inside in the interior.
Okay.
And so we spent about 10 minutes today working on that and trying to get that sewed up. And but we did come out and play much better, made some adjustments. They hit us on the long screen on the last drive, and then we called timeout, and they tried to run it again, and that's when we ended up getting a big sack because we put Devin Hill man-to-man on the tight end and pressed him, and they rolled out and tried to screen back, and Devin was there. So we ended up getting a big sack on that. So, but Friday night be great atmosphere. It's a great, like Coach Wiggins said before me, it's a great opportunity for both teams to perform on a stage like that. Everybody does not get that opportunity.
Well,
and so we're excited about it.
You guys come on out and watch these guys, athletes on both sides of the field, step up to the plate and hopefully be a really exciting ball game, and hopefully for the Troup Tigers, they'll come out victorious. Hey, with that, you guys, we'll see you Friday night live at Callaway Stadium. I'm your host, Greg Hicks, along with head coach Tanner Glisson. We'll be back right here at Your Pie Pizza next Monday night at 8 o'clock.